Welcome to episode 15 of season 5 of Whole Lot of Wolves. I'm Joshua Buckley, joined by my co-host, Paul LePage.
Greetings, one and all.
On the socials from Baltimore, it is Danny Paletti.
Hello, hello.
And our great producer, Alex Patakis, who is unable to join us tonight, but who is able to join us as we face off against Fulham at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central on Saturday. It is Russ Goldman back from Cottage Talk Podcast. How's it going, Russ?
It's going great. Thanks for having me on tonight, guys. I look forward to talking about the match.
So this is an interesting matchup for Wolves fans because of the fact that you have two of our beloved former stars, Raul and Adama. So how are they adjusting to Fulham?
Well, the one that has adjusted the best over the course of 2 seasons has been Raul. Raul has been great. In fact, to the point where I think if Raul did not get the red card last season against Newcastle, that kind of derailed his purple patch. Then when that all happened, you then see the emergence of Rodrigo Muniz. But now Silva started the season with Muniz starting, but it just wasn't clicking. And I think I now understand why, because the way that Silva wants to play, he has these large triangles that he sets up on both sides at different times. And he's been integral in these triangles. And he's been a different type of striker than, say, a Mitrovic. But he's been extremely active, and he does not look his age. I'll just tell you, he's been great for Fulham this season and in the short period he was last season. The emergence of Adama Traore this season has been a huge, pleasant surprise for us. And now we're seeing what you guys probably know, the good and the bad. We see a player that if he could score would not be on Fulham. He'd probably be on Barcelona.
Thank you. Somebody says exactly what I said.
There was the match against Man City with 3 clear-cut chances, and he didn't score on any of them. But the thing about it was he was also my man of the match because of how well he played. So he offers a great deal to Fulham. The only thing with him right now is that I'm not sure if he's going to start against Wolves just because Silva, a couple matches ago, decided to give Reece Nelson a shot to start, and he has been spectacular. So I've been advocating for actually Adama to play 30 minutes instead of 90 minutes or 60 plus, whatever it is, because I see him as the super sub, and I'm sure you guys have had that argument over and over. We're having it too. But he has been great this season. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. So, Rush, you've had a decent start to the season, handily placed in 7th right now. How do you think you'll be shaping up with this particular fixture at home after an international break? What would you predict your lineup and shape to be?
Sure. So, going into this match, obviously, I'm feeling very confident based on the last 2 results. But overall, the season so far has been tremendous. I actually started to feel that there was something different this summer when Fulham went to Portugal for their preseason and they faced Benfica. And 2 seasons prior, they faced Benfica and it was just embarrassing. Even though Fulham had a great first season back in the Premier League, I thought that they had a long way to go. And that was really the telltale for me was that match. 2 seasons later, this summer, Fulham basically destroyed Benfica. And then I'm thinking there's something a little bit different. And what I realized it's that it's really the 3rd season under Silva, really playing the way now he wants to play with the players he wants to play. The additions, I think, have basically changed Fulham. Emil Smith-Rowe, bringing back Joachim Andersen, Sander Berge will be playing, the emergence of Sasa Lukic, and I've already talked about Adama Traore really becoming like a new signing because he barely played last season. So going into this match, they're going to be full of confidence. Wolves coming off of a victory, so you got 2 teams facing up. I'm looking forward to the match, but I'm feeling confident from my side.
So what you're saying is you are no longer lowly Fulham?
No, we're no longer a lowly Fulham. We'll go back to that from last season. But if you're asking me how I think we're going to line up, I believe it'll be a 4-2-3-1 with it'll be Leno in net, Tete as your right back. On the left, it will be Anthony Robinson as your left back, Anderson and Bassi as your center backs. In the middle is going to be interesting because Sasa Lukic is coming back. So I think it'll end up being Berga, Pereira, and Smith Rowe. On the left, I'm going to go with Reece Nelson. And on the right, I will go with Alex Iwobi. Now, he could change it and go back to Traore facing his former club. And then I think he would have Traore on the right and Iwobi on the left. But I actually think we'll go with Reece Nelson because it's been working very well. Nelson's been playing very good. So that's what I expect from Fulham against Wolves.
He's got to start Iwobi because he always scores against the Wolves.
That's right.
At some point, so
He's been great. He's been a player of the season so far. He's been great.
Now, one interesting stat is you guys have yet to score on a set piece this season. However, we've been hemorrhaging set piece goals. So, what's got to give here?
I'd like to say that we're going to score on a set piece, but I'm not 100% sure that it's going to happen anytime soon. We've been complaining about Pereira's deliveries. They haven't been the greatest. So for me, I would not put money on us scoring on a set piece against Wolves.
That's what I like to hear, Paul.
yeah, we got to take some positives from somewhere. So just that minutest sniff of one is good enough for me. So thanks, Russ.
By the way, Danny, it would be nice to have seen our positive momentum in the preseason carryover. I'm a little jealous, Russ, because we went to the U.S. and looked great and then did not start out so hot.
Yeah.
But you know what? For me, I think you're going to be fine. This is just my opinion. I've not watched you the entire season, but I know what you have, and I know that I think maybe overcoming some of the losses is it just takes some time. It just we learned that when we lost Mitrovic. We've learned that when we lost Paulinho. But what's interesting, guys, and this is the shocking thing about losing Paulinho, we've been in some ways maybe even better because we're playing more on the front foot than we did with Paulinho. It's strange to say that, but we now have Sasa Lukic playing that role, and he is not Paulinho. He's different. He's actually more offensive minded, and Berga will be playing that role now in the exact same thing. And I think that's actually what Silva really wanted. And Paulinho was more of a tackling machine. And we actually, I think, are playing better without him. I know that's crazy to say, but it just seems that way.
It's weird how that happens. Well, Russ, thanks. We really appreciate it. You got a prediction?
Yeah, I'll give you guys a prediction. I'm going to say I'm going to go 2-1 to Fulham. I think it's going to be close, but I will say 2-1 to Fulham.
Does Raul or Adama contribute?
They both score. They both score. Just to
get out of here.
Just
kick him out. Kick him out of here. If we lose because Adama nets an 89th minute goal, I may cry. Russ, thanks as always. We look forward to talking to you again in the rematch after Wolves take this one.
Oh, okay. We'll see. We'll see about that.
Thanks, Russ.
Have a good one.
Take care,
Thanks,
guys. Take care.
As long as there are no soft headbutts, I'll consider that a win.
Well, before we get to our preview of the Fulham match, Danny, what do you got for the international roundup?
Yeah, I was looking back on the games. I only caught a few of them this time, but I felt like the most remarkable thing was stuff that happened not really on the pitch. We had a larger group go out this time than last time, partly because more people are healthy. But we had Santi Bueno, in case anybody hadn't heard, he traveled to South America, but already they were saying he wasn't going to play in the first game because of an injury niggle. And then they actually asked him to return return to Compton early, which he did, I believe. And then in a similar vein, I just checked in Ryan Aït-Nouri. He played 90 minutes in their first game, which was really early in the window. And then he played 0 minutes in their second game. Similarly, Lamina, I think, played 90 or close to 90 in their first game and then wasn't even on the bench for the second game. And there's definitely, at first with Santi Bueno, I think people were sort of going into conspiracy theory mode that we were making calls and asking them to be light on our players. And I, sort of thought, well, we knew he had a small injury anyway, so this seems par for the course. But now I feel like maybe there's a little more credence to that we have a lot of players who probably needed a bit more of a rest, and they tried to impress that upon, whether that was the players or the national teams themselves. I don't know how the politics of that works, but it seems like, at least for some of those players who are likely to start on Saturday, I think they ended up playing around one game instead of two, give or take. The only other notable thing, really, Carlos Forbes, I think, did really well. I think he got an assist in the first game and a goal in the second. And obviously the somewhat surprise news was Fabio Silva, our old friend, getting a call up to the full national team. He had been called up to the U21s as usual, but then the senior team, I guess, qualified, or whatever the next stage of the Nations League. I still can't wrap my mind around it, but they qualified and they didn't need a lot of their senior players anymore, so they sent them home, all the pampered players like Bruno Fernandes and a certain Pedro Neto, and they called up some of the U21s, including Fabio Silva.
I like how Neto is a pampered player now.
Well, now he's in London.
Yeah, he goes to Chelsea. I cannot believe that Silva got called up. That just blows my mind. But
he even played 5 minutes or so.
We kind of need him to do good, because then that makes him
absolutely
better of an asset. So I just love the people that are like, oh, should we give him a chance? It's like, look, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results.
How many chances can we do?
Yeah, this guy, he's over here. All right, let's just figure it out. He's not gonna be like a Guedes. So, all right, Danny, thank you for that international break. So now let's talk about Saturday's match. Again, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central. And Paul, how do you think we're going to line up against Fulham on Saturday?
I think it's naturally got to stick to, obviously, the 5, going away from home, and just what that offers, really, against a team that we've probably struggled against at Craven Cottage for sure. So it could be a good opportunity for a more counter-attacking approach for sure. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, based on those that went away and the minutes that Danny talked about, and then importantly those who stayed, and has that been more beneficial time on the training ground to hopefully gel and put some things together. So I don't see too many crazy sweeping changes really from that Southampton starting lineup. I just think it'll be managing the minutes of those players that did travel and how they factored into the starting lineup.
How about you, Danny? And specifically when dealing with Sarabia.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say. Is I just think I agree with Paul that it's probably not going to be massive changes to the lineup we saw against Southampton, but the one that seems pretty obvious is Sarabia. I don't know. I consider it kind of a 50-50. I wouldn't be shocked if Sarabia kept his place, but I think there's a real chance for a slightly different approach, that maybe it helps to have someone like Jean-Victor Bellegarde in, or even maybe Carlos Forbes. He's actually had a decent amount of minutes during the international break, so maybe less likely. But like Paul said, playing into that sort of counterattacking shape away from home, trying to grind out some kind of result, because I think the Southampton win is kind of a stay of execution for Gary, but we all know that he's not out of the woods yet, and I just think we're going to be going there trying not to lose as best we can.
It could be the Spider-Man meme game where you've got Forbes and Adama coming on right at the same time. Because didn't you see this week we got Forbes clocked like the quickest pace in sprinting or something so far?
Third quickest,
Third quickest. Which, did you see who was in the top 2?
Yeah,
Matheus Nunes.
Yeah, Nunes and Van de Ven. Yep.
I don't know. I think we need to check that. There may be some speed fraud there.
It's just guys with extra long legs. It's cheating. It's basically cheating.
So, Paul, let's talk predictions then. What are you thinking for this match? Well, first, let's look at the standings. Danny is running away with it with 12 points, by the way. Alex has 8. Paul, you're tied with the guest spot with 4, and then I'm at the bottom of the table. I'm in relegation area. I'll actually start with you, Danny. What do you got?
I got no points last week because I felt confident, I felt some dread last week and didn't go with my gut on that win. Or maybe I predicted the 2-0 too early because I said that for Crystal Palace. I'm still feeling a decent amount of dread. Maybe it's just sitting around for the whole international window thinking about it. So I'm going to go 1-0 Fulham.
1-0. That does bring up a good point, Paul. I kind of felt like a sense of dread too this week with no match over the weekend. Did you feel that at all?
Not really. I've actually probably had my most detached period away from Wolverhampton Wanderers in something, I don't know, in forever how long, not really checking in on anything, not keeping up with any of the forums or anything. I think I'm still on that meh feeling after the Southampton game, that it was a win, but it wasn't that galvanizing type one, and we're still in the bottom 3. So that's really tempered my excitement during this week. I've kind of had it started bubbling up a little. Now we're getting closer to the game, and I'll probably be back right rounding into it certainly by Friday. But as the international break goes, I've been pretty detached even from the international games themselves. I've seen some highlights, and that's probably been the absolute most.
So what's your prediction then?
I think this game's massive, actually. Now, I think, again, I saw, I was trying to look for it before, I couldn't find it, but it was a tweet this week talking about the schedule that we're going into. And it's something like next 45 days, there's 25 days with a game, 20 without, and something like a quarter of the season that's packed into those 6 weeks through into the Christmas period. So it's pivotal, if we're on that downward trajectory, it could generally be game over by Christmas going into January. If something markedly doesn't change, and even then, if you're going in on a downward spiral, it'd take a massive turnaround to bring a new coach and new players, and to pull out of it and survive. So I think it's crucial. I think it's going to tell us a lot on Saturday. Either we saw some positives from Southampton that continue, some green shoots of potential clawing ourselves out of it, or it could be exactly the same type of performance like against Southampton, but against a better team away from home, and we get picked apart, and it's quite a comfortable defeat. So with that all said, I had a weird feeling like that somewhere, somehow, we'd get a 2-0 win. But I can't back myself to do that. So I think I'll go like that Forest game. Again, a decent, like Forest having a good season, like Fulham. So I'll go 1-1.
1-1 draw. Alex also took a 1-1 draw. As for me, I told you I felt like dread or something. Anyways, what was it? Did I text you guys yesterday or today?
I don't remember, but this is about your dream.
Yeah, so I had a dream that Wolves
dreams.
fell down 3-0 in the first 20 minutes to Fulham. And then somehow, and I want to say it was like the back of like a cookie box or something, I found lyrics for a song to usher Gary O'Neill out. And it was set to the tune of American Pie. So it was Bye Bye, Mr. Gary O'Neill Guy. Now I don't remember all the lyrics. Maybe if it happens, I'll come up with some because Alex, in the dream, Alex sang with me. And so he has offered that he will sing with me. So we'll see. Hopefully he doesn't get to that. I really hope it's not 3-0 in the first 20 minutes. That'll be disaster. And in fact, I think it's going to be a fairly entertaining game. So I'm going to say a 2-2 draw, but it's going to be one of those draws that kind of feels like a loss because like Raul's going to score with like 10 minutes to go or something in a game that we should have carried on. So I'm going to say 2-2 draw.
No Stupid Questions is presented by Esfuerzo Wines. Located just north of Santa Barbara, California, Esfuerzo Wines showcases passion and 3 generations of winemaking in every bottle. So whether you're celebrating a Wolves victory or winding down after a day at work, let Esfuerzo Wines transport you to the heart of California's wine country with every sip. For a limited time, head to esfuerzowines.com and use the promo code WOLVES for a 15% discount on your wine purchases. This message is intended for those of legal drinking age. Do not drink and drive. Excessive alcohol consumption may be harmful to your health. If you or someone you know is struggling with alcohol abuse, please seek help. Esfuerzo Wines reminds you to enjoy their products responsibly and in moderation.
Brought to you by our friends at Esfuerzo Wines. It's a favourite part of the show where you, the listener, can get in touch and ask us anything you like when it comes to the greatness that is Wolverhampton Wanderers. You can do that on X at WLW Pod via our Facebook page or an email to hello@wholelotofwolves.com. Up first, our friends at the Crying Wolves podcast. On X, they asked what O'Neill is looking for in that third forward. Seems that no one can really solidify a place there. Does he not know his best 11, or is it a genuine weakness in that area?
What do you think, Danny?
I mean, I think definitely there's an element of not knowing his best team, or maybe, you know, the shakeups at the end of the transfer window, plus, you know, Mosquera going down injured have sort of changed the shape so much that now, you know, the what was going to be his front line is no longer possible. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, we've always said that, you know, like Sarabia is fine, especially coming off the bench. And maybe sometimes there are times when it makes sense to start, but it is kind of disconcerting that there isn't someone who's sort of that default third player. I mean, a player like Geddes, we've been using him sort of as a replacement for Strand Larson when it's time for him to come off. But, you know, honestly, no one has staked a claim well enough to the point of this question that you couldn't imagine him starting or Forbes starting, like we said, you know, like literally anybody who's gotten significant minutes in this season, I think, could possibly grab that third spot.
I think it comes down to Gary O'Neill felt like his job was on the line, rightfully so. And so he was going to go down with the guys he trusted the most. And Sarabia, not the most talented, but he's a veteran, and Gary O'Neill probably feels like, well, if I'm going to go down, I'm going to go down with who I trust more.
It seems weird, like last season, and obviously injury records didn't make it happen as much as everyone wanted to, but it seemed like if they could get Cunha, Wang, and Neto on the same pitch at the same time, they were all guaranteed to start, and it was no real worry about trying to fill that right hand berth or that left hand berth in with a more defensively minded player or a Bellegarde type player who may be better following instructions and better with the press. It seemed more like a fire with fire approach. Now, is that cautious nature because of the predicament he's found himself in? Maybe, but again, I'd rather come out swinging and take it to the opponent. Certainly with the ammunition that we've got, but I suppose the issue now is that Wang has been severely out of form. Probably, and this is probably no fault of his own, but it's not the same. Even if he played a 3 now, it's not the same type of 3 with Larson as that more target, central, pivotal number 9. It's different as far as the dynamism goes. So I think that's an element, and also you taking a big chunk of your weapons away with Neto going, regardless who's come in as a possible replacement. So I think that there's a few areas to look at it. I think it could be an element that not necessarily down to his not knowing his best team, but like the likes of Forbes, they haven't had that real chance to build up any minutes or to come in, stake a claim and retain it and earn that trust, because he's found himself in the shit. And as you mentioned, he's got a lean on his more senior experienced players who he can trust to try and bring him out of it.
I really want to see more Forbes. I do. I like speed.
Yeah, wouldn't it be nice?
I'm going fast.
Wouldn't it be nice if we were 2-0 up or something and could bring him on in the 60th minute instead of throwing him on with 10 minutes left and hoping he changes something?
Yeah, that would be nice.
Next up, WWOP USA on Twitter asks, what are our strange things that we get up to over the international breaks?
Danny, you'll enjoy this. Saturday, when we would have been watching a Wolves match, I was watching The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug.
Oh my
and then
God.
that caused me to go on and just watch Battle of the Five Armies after that. So, yeah, it was a movie. It was a movie time during the international break. I was like, oh, hey, The Hobbit's on USA. Well, I'll just watch that.
Wow. Well, that was a good use of 6.5 hours of your time or something.
I thought
right?
so. Yeah. Let me tell you what, USA, when they show movies, man, it is like the Hobbit movies are already long. And then I swear it's like 10 minutes and then 5 minutes of commercials. The movies are like 5 hours long on USA. It's nuts.
Yeah, well, people already know what I get up to on the international break, which is that at the last minute, I realized I haven't put together a spreadsheet in a while, and I put together a spreadsheet. This is as good a time as any to rant about this, but I just cannot understand for the life of me. The club wants to advertise their players who are going out on international break, and I feel like a big part of that is letting the followers know, like, when they can watch it, but they always organize it by team. And so it's like Portugal, the 14th and the 17th, and then Wales, the 15th and the 18th. And it's just like, it's not in any order that's useful. Anyway, that's why I started doing that, because it infuriated me that I couldn't just read a list of matches and know when I need to turn on my TV. That
Wales info is pretty important as well for those of us who want to keep up with how Tom King's doing.
Tom King starts getting starts for Wales, that's a game changer.
So my Saturday night into Sunday was a little longer than 6 hours. It was about 15 running all the way around Fulshire in an overnight endurance event. So
Good Lord.
clocked between 23 and 27 miles the group did. So I haven't felt the best these first few days of the week. So
You really
I might need a masseuse or Sasa Kaladic's surgeon. We'll see.
Yeah, you're really earning that Thanksgiving dinner, aren't you?
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, you know what? Paul is looking studly, man. How much weight have you lost since you joined the running club?
About 20 pounds.
Yeah, it looks even more. It's looking good. I'm the tubby one of the show for sure.
I can't believe Paul just mentioned Sasha Kalajdzic too. We just heard that he might be back. He's back on the grass certainly, and he's like training with the team. My God, what would it take for him to start playing like significant minutes for Wolverhampton Wanderers?
And are we going to start a Deadpool? Except it'll be a ACL pool.
Oh my God, it's too grim.
Sasha.
I can't watch another one.
I know.
That was No Stupid Questions, brought to you by Espresso Wines. And when you place that order for the holidays at espressowines.com, be sure to use the coupon code WOLVES at checkout and you will get 15% off your order. And that brings us to the end of this week's preview show. So we will be back next week to break it all down and then look maybe a little positively or even more negatively ahead of Gary O'Neill's former club Bournemouth coming to Molineux the following Saturday. So thanks to Danny on the socials, Alex producing, you, the listener, because if you weren't a part of this, it wouldn't exist. So if you are new to us on YouTube, please head over and like our channel, subscribe. You can get notified when we go live. Doing all of that helps when it comes to spreading the good word of Whole Lot of Wolves. So you can do that during the remainder of this week. To those that you meet, you can simply say, up the mighty Wolves.